Milling Through History presents A Computer Before Computers. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny introduced audiences worldwide to a particular mechanism known as the Antikythera Mechanism. Now, this particular archaeological piece has been around for quite some time, and many people are probably not very familiar with it, but they might recall sometimes seeing this image of a gear surrounded by sea life that just seemingly grew on it. And really, that's how the story of this particular piece came into existence. But the Antikythera became an integral part of the last installment of Indiana Jones. And so in looking at this mechanism, it is a rather unique piece. Discovered in 1901 in a shipwreck off the island of Antikythera, the discovery of this piece alone was actually kind of an afterthought. The shipwreck, which it was found on, yielded many treasures. Now, it included bronze and marble statues, pottery, glassware, jewelry, coins, and yet the mechanism was, oddly enough, neglected as being seen as a piece of corroded bronze and wood that was put together. And so, when all the treasures from this shipwreck were brought to shore and cleaned up, museum staffers spent more time dealing with everything else before they even bothered dealing with this one peculiar piece that has some bronze on it. Let's check it out. Now, it wasn't until a gear was found in the rock that was part of this whole clutter that more work was being done to determine exactly what it was. And so it took 50 years before anyone bothered to really take a close look at the Antikythera mechanism. And it wouldn't be until 1971 that x-rays were done on the artifact and helped to show that this particular clump of seemingly breaking down wood and corroded bronze were actually 82 unique, distinctive parts to a device that nobody really knew ever existed or could do who knew what. So what was it? Well, it's believed that the device was used as an early astronomical tool and that it had a 4-year cycle attached to it. This would allow early astronomers to track the moons, it could track eclipses, it could track seasons, and as such, they had an idea of how things would be cyclical over a 4-year span. Now, because the device could be used to track stars, planets, and other astronomical phenomena, it perhaps is what provided a great deal of knowledge to the ancient Greeks as to how it is that they created the earliest forms of science that we use today. Now, what also makes the device so unique is that the construction of it would not be seen again until the 14th century, which means that whoever created this device was, by and large, a genius, someone so far ahead of their own time that it takes the better part of at least 2,000 years before anyone else can duplicate it. Now, the device itself, through carbon dating, has been located to have been created sometime between the years 200 and 178 BC. But since there was so much corrosion, if it was even older than that, some people might not be surprised by it. But we just don't really know. Now, in popular culture, of course, Indiana Jones will use the device to go back in time. And historians can say, that's physically impossible. It's a nice dream, but Indy's not going to go back in time with it. Instead, Indy would be able to track cosmic events, and certainly that's pretty nice too. Now, replicas of the device have been built in order to show people how it would work. And when putting the device together, it shows that it's not just simply like a dial as seen in the movie, but rather a 3-dimensional image that allows for the individual using it to carefully track and map astronomical phenomena. And this is what makes it so fascinating, is that the mathematics and engineering involved means that our understanding as to exactly how ancient Greeks and early civilizations studied the universe, but also how they did their own education, may have been far more advanced than what we would have considered to have been at that time. And so while we may never know what the mechanism was truly used for, or even how it truly worked, it is still rather unique to know that human civilization has these spurts of advancement that shows that sometimes lightning can be caught in a bottle, and the advancement of human civilization can occur at an amazing pace. The key is just to keep moving that pace forward every time that lightning strikes for the betterment of mankind. For more information, please consider these suggested titles. Be sure to click on the left-hand side of the screen to subscribe to our show, and on the right-hand side for our latest episode. And we will see you again for the next episode of Milling Through History.